Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today. Now, in this video today, guys, I'm going to cover some critical new TA that I will be sharing with you guys. And this will probably be one of the most important videos. I'm going to title it something like a deep dive into all the different time frames here. Now, let's dive into this 3-day time frame, because what we saw here recently is we broke above this critical level of resistance at 106K, held that as support for a bit, but then we broke down below that 106.5K level once again. And besides that, we broke down below this massive ascending trend line that we had been trading above for a very long time. So, of course, like I covered extensively, even far in advance of us actually breaking down, I told you guys, if we break down below here, I am flipping bearish on Bitcoin. So, of course, we have been capturing this move to the downside so far. But coming back to this 3-day time frame, notice how, first of all, yes, of course, we are bearish on Bitcoin right now. And for me to even consider flipping bullish on Bitcoin once again, guys, we need to break above 106.5K. In that case, I would be open to the possibility of another move to the upside, potentially even making new all-time highs, taking out a bunch of liquidity right here. I will get to that a little bit later on in this video. But for now, to me, this looks like we have a huge amount of room to the downside and not a lot of room to the upside right now. So that is the way that I'm viewing the market. And as you can see, I basically drew this as a sideways channel between 90.5K and that 106.5K level. Basically, so long as we are trading inside this range, it is kind of weird to say, but I am kind of neutral on Bitcoin. So long as we are trading in this range here, of course, right now we have more room to the downside, so I am a little bit more bearish, but it would not be surprising to me if we spend the entire summer just trading inside this range here before we get another potential move to the upside. Now, of course, I'm not one for these like really long-term predictions. For me, it really doesn't matter. And if, for example, tomorrow we break above 106K once again, then I will just flip bullish and we continue riding this move to the upside. But either way, this range is something critical that I am paying attention to. And currently I am targeting about 98K in the Bitcoin price. Besides that, like I said, I am basically just neutral so long as we're trading in here. I'm not really of the opinion like, yeah, we need to get another huge move to the upside or the bear market is starting, so long as we are inside this sideways channel, like I said. But if we start breaking down below 90.5K, then it is really starting to look pretty bearish for Bitcoin. So we do have to keep an eye out for that. For now, all of that is very, very early. So do not get me wrong here. I'm not calling for us to get some huge move to the downside. In fact, to me, it may even seem more likely that we just spend all of June just chopping this. But of course, that remains to be seen. We're just going to take it one day at a time. Moving on to this 1-day time frame, this is basically just looking bearish as far as I'm concerned. On the 4-hour time frame, we are still just trading inside this descending channel pattern, but we did find some support exactly on this 0.236 Fibonacci level, sitting at about 103K. And of course, this is something that I mentioned in yesterday's video. From there, we saw a beautiful bounce from that Fibonacci level. Moving on to the 2-hour time frame, here we are starting to break some of these downtrends, right? We already broke this first downtrend. So if you are a bull in this case, we are seeing a bit of bullish momentum here. But the next critical area of resistance to pay attention to is about 105K in the Bitcoin price. In the case that we break through there, then yeah, potentially we might actually get a bit of a move to the upside. Something to be aware of though is, for example, on this 1-hour time frame, you can draw this Fibonacci retracement level. And even if we were to retrace all the way to this Fibonacci golden pocket sitting between 106.6K and 106.8K, roughly speaking, even if we retrace all the way up here, it doesn't mean that we are like really bullish at that point, because we can literally just see a rejection from this Fibonacci golden pocket, or really just from any of these Fibonacci levels below. Only once we start breaking above this Fibonacci golden pocket, you will see me actually flipping bullish on Bitcoin once again. Anything below that, I am basically assuming that we are just going to make a lower high and then resume to the downside from there. And again, that is also because I am still bearish on, for example, this 1-day time frame. So that is why I am not expecting something like this to unfold so long as we are trading below that 106.5K level, like I showed you on the 3-day time frame. One last thing that I wanted to point out is this 30-minute time frame where we have this falling, broadening wedge pattern. And this is also something that I covered in yesterday's video. Basically, with these falling broadening wedge patterns, you will see the price shoot between the top and bottom of this pattern, becoming more and more volatile over time. And you can see that right here, these very volatile swings to the downside, in this case, a huge move to the upside on the lower time frames of just very violent bullish and bearish momentum over and over again, shooting between the top and bottom of this pattern. Now the pattern is starting to get pretty wide, so just keep an eye on it for now, but yeah, the next swing down would have to be pretty severe for us to continue trading inside this pattern. Either way, if we were to break out to the upside here, guys, and we are pretty close to potentially breaking out, the point of the breakout is sitting at about 104.7K, roughly speaking. And in terms of a price target that would set up in the case that we break out to the upside, that is already at 108.1K in the Bitcoin price. Now, if you're not familiar with how I actually drew this price target, I basically just took the high from this pattern all the way down to the low of this pattern. I basically just took it to the point of the breakout, and from there you can measure the price target. And of course, the point of invalidation is if we break back down below the point of the breakout, because then it completely opens the door to more bearish price action once again. Next, moving on to the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. First of all, on this 1 year time frame, this is something that I wanted to point out. We have huge liquidity sitting at 112.6K. I will go deeper into this in tomorrow's video when I talk about these higher time frames, because yeah, I do still have some higher time frame price targets that are further to the upside than this Bitcoin liquidation heat map is even showing. But I do think that this Bitcoin liquidation heat map is something that could fuel the next move to the upside. And while I am on the topic of mentioning these high time frame price targets that are further to the upside, like I said, I will talk about it more after we get the monthly candle close. But I want to be very, very clear, guys. Even with me having some price targets that are like further to the upside, I am just bearish on Bitcoin right now on these daily time frames. So keep that in mind. Like, I am bearish on Bitcoin right now, even with me having some price targets that are further to the upside. I'm not like married or something to these huge price targets, because for me, it really doesn't matter. I do not have a spot position. I am only leverage trading Bitcoin, and I'm mostly doing that on the lower time frames as well. So for me personally, it doesn't matter if we are in a bull or a bear market. So keep that in mind when you are watching my videos. I'm only really leverage trading the lower time frames, but I'm just showing you guys everything that is happening in the market because I just want to keep you guys up to date with everything that is going on. Now, keep in mind that nothing I say in my videos is financial advice. I'm simply telling you what I'm seeing in the charts, and you can do with that information what you like. Now, I'm quickly going to show you guys the Bitcoin ETF flow tables for today, and then I'm actually going to summarize all of this that I talked about in this video. So yesterday, we saw a massive outflow from the Bitcoin ETFs, over $600 million flowing out of them in a single day of trading. Obviously, this is having a downwards pressuring effect on the Bitcoin price, and you can see that in this daily candle right here. The Bitcoin ETF inflows and outflows are always 24 hours behind, and they do not trade on weekends. So right now, they are not having an effect on the market. Therefore, it is very important to keep an eye on this next week, because we had nothing but bullish inflows for the last couple of weeks, and now you are starting to see them flip bearish as we are breaking down below that massive uptrend that we have been in for a very long time. So this could also really pressure the market down. Now, like I said, I don't have huge bearish price targets, and I also am not saying that the bull market is over or something like that. But at the same time, this is something that we should keep an eye on. So to summarize, in tomorrow's video, guys, I'm going to cover the higher time frames, and I also kind of want to discuss some stuff that I'm seeing in terms of the sentiment of the market right now. And I think some people are making some serious mistakes. So make sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications on so you do not miss that video tomorrow. Either way, that's it for the higher time frames. On the 3-day time frame, this is just looking bearish so long as we are trading below 106.5K, and I am talking about candle closes there. On the 1-day time frame, we are breaking the uptrend. This is also just looking bearish. 4-hour time frame, we are just trading in this descending channel pattern. So we're slowly just trending down over time, although we have found some critical support at this Fibonacci level, 103K, like I said. 2-hour time frame, we are potentially seeing a short-term reversal, but make sure to keep an eye on this 1-hour time frame for some potential resistance around that critical level at around 106.5K. And lastly, on the 30-minute time frame, guys, we are still in this falling broadening wedge pattern, potentially about to break out, but make sure to actually confirm this properly and understand that if this then fails, that as soon as we invalidate this, it completely opens the door to more bearish price action once again. But until then, if we actually end up breaking out, it would set up this price target of about 108.1K. Either way, this has been today's market update, guys. One last thing before I close off. Make sure to check out these links in the video description because I link to a couple of exchanges that I personally trade on and a bunch of people inside my community trade on as well. Now, the reason they trade on these exchanges is because I offer huge trading fee discounts if you trade on these exchanges using my referral code in the video description, because I negotiated with, for example, Blowfin and VX to give you guys some huge trading fee discounts, much bigger than what other content creators are even able to offer you guys. So therefore, even if you're, for example, already trading on Blowfin, consider just creating a new account because you can literally save a huge amount of money if you trade with a bigger trading fee discount. Either way, if you do end up checking it out or not, thank you for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.